What's up, everybody? This is your girl Spice from SpiceLifeTv, and you are tuned in to the Till the Wheels Fall Off podcast. And this is your other host.
How y'all doing out there, world? This is Creed, and I'm your other host for the Till the Wheels Fall Off podcast, where we deal with relationships and reentry, and we learn together and we teach together.
That is right. So, how you doing, Creed?
I'm all right. I'm hanging in there.
Yeah?
Yeah.
It's been a week, hasn't it? So, we normally start off this show with our high and our low. Do you have a high and a low this week?
I think the high's coming.
Oh,
I'm
yeah?
about to have this procedure done, so maybe that'll be the high. Procedure on my knee done. But other than that, I just feel like a big high was that I feel like in a lot of ways I've been taken care of this week by people that I work with.
Yeah.
And that doesn't always happen in these type of situations and whatnot, so they were looking out for my health, or, at least one or two people in particular. Mm-hmm. So that was a high for me.
You guys remember last week we told you Creed's been dealing with his back, his knee. His knee's gotten not a lot better, so he's been dealing with that all week, and so today he has a procedure to hopefully make this go away. I don't know if you guys have heard what a bursitis?
Yeah, I've heard of bursitis, but you used to hear like elder people always complaining about it.
You're there.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about way older.
Oh, well, we're at the
way
old.
older, yeah. And they used to say, "Oh, my bursitis is acting up." I remember hearing that. But
yeah, his knee swelled up. There's clearly something going on with it, and so I guess today they're gonna see if they can get that going, so he can have some pain relief.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my high as far as like people looking out for you and making sure that you're in the best condition to be able to take care of your health. Mm-hmm. And sometimes people be trying to appease people at the job and take care of their health, which doesn't always work out for them. Yeah. I haven't had to do that, so that's been a high.
Okay, well there you go. I think my high this week actually happened last night. It was the impromptu, let's just hang out, turn off the TV, play a game, talk. Fun. It was really sweet. I mean, this week's been kind of a trying week for me overall, just on a few different levels. But I just kind of am in this state of a lot of anxiety, and it's not always, I can't always explain where it's coming from. But one thing that helps me is like just having kind of like some time where I can just woo-saw and not have to be plugged in and connected and doing something. And I don't know if you realized that, or if you did it on purpose, or if this was just a by chance thing.
I'm a hell of a man, Spike. And there's just sometimes
I was walking you in that to give you an opportunity to be so humble and graceful. And then what did you do? I'm
humble in all areas of my life, but in the areas that I know and I'm self-aware at, I got to let that be known. And I'm not. But all jokes aside, I just kind of felt like I seen my better half kind of struggling a little bit. Do something and make sure that her mind was taken off of that. So
yeah,
there it was.
Okay, well I appreciate it. It was fun. I had a good time. We actually aren't going to do the question game today because we spent last night answering those questions, just kind of just talking and kind of like just hanging out. I don't know. We went through almost the whole deck. So
it's crazy how the rows that those questions can take you down.
They do go some rows. I don't know. I like decks like that because for one, I like to have in-depth conversations with people because I like to learn about them. And even with that, like I learned stuff about you that I didn't know.
Really?
Like, yeah. Some of them were like, oh, I don't know that I needed to know that. Like the one night stands or like the hit it and quit it and stuff like that. But it still was interesting to kind of get more details on the. I already knew those things, but like more detail about it. Yeah. That was kind of interesting.
So it was interesting for me to learn about how you tried to bike up that hill at an intersection. No, not a hill, world, an incline. Okay? So you ever try to start a bike on the hill? And yeah, she tried to do that apparently.
You're going to tell my story and then not even tell it right and then tell it with me in the negative?
That was so great to hear last night because you knew it was ridiculous because you couldn't tell the story without laughing.
What was the question?
I don't even know.
It was something like... I don't even remember the question, but anyway, I ended up telling him about this story because 2 summers ago, like right when COVID started, I got into bike riding. And I was going often by myself, and then sometimes with my friend Trisha Ann. Well, we went this particular time to this Point Defiance Zoo, which if you're from our area, there's like this 5-mile loop around this zoo. And we were going, but you're mixed in with the regular traffic. And I'm a new bike rider. Like, I'm not professional, and I'm not good, and I'm not a quick starter. Well, they had us at this 4-way stop. Trisha Ann was in front of me. It was her turn to go. She gets on and she goes on, rides across. Mind you, I'm standing, holding the bike, so I have both my feet on the ground. Well, it's my turn, and I felt my anxiety coming because I knew that I'm not the best starter. And so, you get on, you have your 2 legs surrounding the bike, you put your 1 foot on the pedal, and then you like kind of kick off because you're getting ready to put the other foot on and you're going to go. Well, I keep getting ready to try to go, and I'm pushing that 1 pedal for it to come around so I can catch it with my other foot and get going. Well, it's not working because I'm like, it's just a very slight incline, but enough to make it where you have to push hard, like balance and do it, and I couldn't do it. Well, now I'm holding up traffic. So I had the bike's like this, I'm straddling it, and I had to like straddle this bike across the intersection.
You didn't even think to get off the bike and run it across?
No, because I was embarrassed. I was so close thinking like, yeah, I'm about to get it. But now I'm too close to the end of the walk that me getting off would have just taken more time. So I'm just trying to get across now. I was committed.
Wasn't the paddles hitting your shins?
It did. And it was scraping my heel.
It had to have. It was a mess.
That was not my
so
shiniest moment.
Video, like, look at this
they
mess
probably
at
did.
this intersection.
And the thing about it is Trisha is long gone. She don't even know I'm back here struggling, looking a whole fool. Anywho, that would have been my high. And I had a low, and now I just lost it. Oh, I know what my high for next week is. I'm going to say it now because I'm hoping that by the time we film, I've already used it. My high is that another high. I'm going to give you 2 highs instead of a low. My other high is that I ordered my wash machine, my new wash machine and dryer to go in my new basement that's supposed to be done today if my guy shows up. Which that's kind of concerning. We should probably text him. But yeah, so my new washer and dryer is on its way. So next week, hopefully my high is that it came and that it's working wonderfully. If I say that it's my low, then it has not come or it's not working wonderfully.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. But it's going to be good, though.
I think so.
We do.
All right.
We do, full blessing.
All right, baby. Ready to get into this episode this week?
Yeah, let's get cracking.
Okay, so we were discussing, like, what do we think we should talk about this week? And we both kind of were like, we've kind of told you what the last year looked like of him transitioning out in general and, like, mostly just him being reacclimated into the world. But what we didn't really tell you about is what it looks like when you are releasing from prison. I don't know if it's an unfortunate or fortunate. It's unfortunate because you still got out. It's unfortunate that I didn't get to go to the prison and pick him up and he walk in my car and we drive away. We didn't have that kind of a release. Yeah. There's several different types of releases. That's one option. And we had a different options or a different outcome. Mm-hmm. So we kind of wanted to walk you through that process and into work release and what it's set up to do, what it's doing, and what it should be doing. Kind of our take and what we are hoping to one day work on improving. Correct?
Absolutely. And the reason why we tell this mainly talking to the individual who's been in this situation so they can understand what to expect. Mm-hmm. Because being in that situation and you don't know what to expect, once you're in a situation, it's too late. Right. And then the individual who's never been in that situation doesn't know, needs to understand that these are the people that are being released to y'all streets, and so if you don't help them, it can be hurtful later. But I mean, I was just actually talking to a guy who's in work release now that I've been kind of just talking to back and forth since I released, and he's on his way out, and so he's releasing this month, and so I just kind of asked him, like, what's your plan? Like, this your month, you ready? Ready to get it cracking? And so he's let me know what his plan was for a job going forward. He has a job, he wants to get a better one, and then he let me know the books that he's been investing his mind in. They're all about investing in stocks and whatnot. But he showed me 3 different ones, which shows me that he's serious, and he said he's read all of them. Mm-hmm. And so I'm glad because I stressed to him the importance of doing that on your own.
Yeah. Because why?
Which is why we're talking about this. So work release is supposed to provide you with a safe place to get out to, and things are provided for you, of course. Room and board is provided for you. You're going to pay for it, but they're going to give you a place to stay while you work, while you take care of any hang-ups that you may have, whether it be drug related, alcohol related. You can go to treatment while you're in work release and be able to work. Or you can go to school while you're on work release, learn a trade so that by the time you release, you can then find a job in whatever trade that you learned. That was the setup for work release. What's actually happening is you're going to work release and you're getting absolutely no help. And while I'm of the belief that self-help is the most important help, doing stuff for yourself, I also understand that rehabilitation has been drilled into everybody, into society, and of course those of us that have been incarcerated. And rehabilitation says that we're going to put you here, we're going to restrict how you become better, and you're going to become better by our system. So when they tell you that, that's like the 1,000th lie they've told us. The expectation is, I'm here and you're going to rehabilitate me, and that's a lie. So you're here and nobody's helping you. So it's okay to do everything for yourself, but when the expectation is that you're going to help me do this and you don't, it's just, it's actually devastating.
Well, yes, you can help yourself, but you only can help yourself to the level that you know how to help yourself.
Exactly.
And if you're in prison, typically you've helped yourself into trouble,
right, and
not out of trouble. So who's giving them the resources to turn that around? And that's what you would think work release would be doing. Honestly, this is what I thought you were going to walk into. I thought you'd walk into an orientation, you'd be assigned a counselor, and then every day there'd be some connection on what you're doing, your plan, your process, your resource. You're constantly being checked on, you're checking in, you're having to report, you're having to submit, so that they see that you're working towards something and they're helping you work towards something. And that is not what happened at all.
Not at all.
You literally got there and then you were there.
And I was just there. And it was like, go for yourself. Mind you, here's the thing. So the rehabilitation thing, she's correct, is when you are getting better, it's showing you how, because you've already helped yourself into prison. And so it's like, in these stressful times, how do I cope with stressful situations differently than I used to? How do I deal with confrontations differently than I used to? How do I go out there and find a job that's going to sustain me better than I used to try? These are the things that rehabilitation is supposed to do, and it doesn't do it.
Or even just, how do I manage my money, because now it's not coming as fast and as often because I'm doing it the legit way. How do I get this money and stretch it and make it work so that I'm taking care of myself, my family, or whatever? And they're not giving these guys that.
They're not. And nobody knows better than the Department of Corrections how much you don't know about what's going on in the world. So if you've been incarcerated for any length of time, especially at this point in time, you haven't had access to computers. So the Department of Correction knows that better than anybody in the world, but they don't give us access to computers. They don't give us access to anything remotely resembling the internet, so we know how to navigate it. And so what that does is, when you get to work release, we don't know that there's no way to apply for a job if it's not online.
Right.
You can't go to apply for a job on paper like you did when you got incarcerated. So that's one of the things the DOC is not even preparing you for, and it's so easy. Which
is also kind of okay, so fortunately you have somebody who can kind of tell you, babe, that's not, people don't do that anymore. But if you don't have that and you don't know, now you go into a job place asking for a job, trying to fill out application, and people literally are like, what do you mean? Yeah. Especially these young kids who never had to do that before. It's always been electronic, and a lot of times the jobs that the guys that are first getting out go to are very entry level, and so you feel silly and stupid, and now you're just kind of already nervous, you're already uncomfortable, you're already unsure, and now you've got this this person being like, sir, you need to go online.
Yeah.
And then they're like, okay, how do I do that? What do I do it on? What does that even mean? That meant nothing to you.
No, absolutely not. And then when if that happens and you go back to work release and tell your counselor, the person that monitored you, that this is the case and I need access to a computer to be able to do that, they say, well, we don't have that here. We don't really know what to do. Don't know what to tell you. It's literally like that. And it wasn't until I left, probably a week after I left, they even allowed these guys to have cell phones in the work release, which who in society doesn't have a cell phone? And then, so you're sitting in work release without a cell phone, trying to apply for a job, trying to get in school, trying to figure out how you're going to cope with drug and alcohol problems.
To navigate the bus.
Exactly.
Like, what?
You have no access to that in work release. So the principles and the process in work release right now is beyond archaic, because if that ever worked, I don't understand.
I don't think it ever worked before, but it really doesn't work when you're in COVID, in a pandemic, and you already are limited to everything. When you first went, things were shut down, things weren't open, people were not having people come in to do anything in person. So if you don't have access through the internet, you're just not getting served. You're not getting services, you're not getting resources. And they're not even pressed to try to help you, because when you went in, libraries were closed, there was no place you could go. They weren't even letting them go out and do social things so that they could go and get things done. But yet every month they charge you $400 for that room and board. So you have to have a job, but yet they're not setting you up to be able to get one, or at least one that is above Popeyes.
Yeah.
You know,
they have a couple of places that they would like to send people. They're below minimum wage.
They're higher and flop. They're flipping flops. Like,
yeah. So you're literally working to pay that rent. Is what you're doing every month, and then you might have a little bit left over, but you can't save because you need stuff in work release. It's a bad process, and like when I get there, I was so excited to go to work release. Understand? But what I learned when I got there is that I just wasn't in prison no more, which I'm very grateful for. But I had a whole thing in my mind of what it was going to be like to be able to go to work, you know, and have a little time to be able to spend with you and learn some things, because I'm out here on the streets and say, okay, I need to learn this, and now I'm at the work release on my days off maybe, and maybe I can have a laptop, or maybe I can have a phone that I couldn't have none of that. So by their rules, I'm going to be there for 6 months out on the streets going to a job and can't even have a cell phone. It is crazy.
So, and this is the thing, like, you're telling this grown 44-year-old man, like, we're grown, half a century years old, that he can't have a cell phone. But then, if you catch him with one, that's a demerit or an infraction that could potentially kick you out of being in work release. Who do y'all know that doesn't have a cell phone? If you try to take your cell phone from your 12-year-old that has a phone, what happens? They sneak the phone because what? Their whole life is on their phone. Which one of you are operating now that can live a whole day and not do something from this phone or have any access to the internet? Not saying that you're that connected. Clearly, you're not that connected yet. But this is the world that we're living in, and so them not allowing you to have time to just learn what swipe means, or how to text, or just how a phone works in that 6 months where you could be just like kind of playing around with it. I get that they think that there's all these things y'all could be doing bad. We know that. They're criminals. We get it. They think about ways to do things in a criminal manner. That is probably accurate. But do you think that not giving it to them is going to stop that?
No.
Because what was happening? They were thinking that people could have like run these drug busts or have these drug operations. Were they still getting drugs?
Still getting dope.
Did that man overdose from a drug overdose that he got from that, getting it delivered at that facility?
That he did. Yeah, these things still happen. And what's funny is like she was just saying, that was actually the point I was going to allude to, is when a guy comes in work release and you're telling him you can't leave, you can't because of COVID, you have a pandemic, you can't leave and go anywhere and apply to anything in person. That's just not job. We're talking about guys who want to go apply to be in a drug treatment program, an outpatient program. So when guys are trying to do that and you're not allowing them to do that, he's not getting help over here. So of course he's going to have access to getting what hurts him over here, which would be the drugs, and that's what they were doing. So when he don't have access to AA or NA, trust and believe he's going to go get that dope, because it's easier to get that dope in work release than get out of work release to go get help. So that's what they were doing. And
I mean, he literally was telling me, like, people would drive up, drop it, they would throw the string down, tie it around, pull it up, and it wasn't even like high-tech operations. It was literally, I'm bringing drugs and I'm going to leave it in this bush. When you come outside, come and get the bush.
yeah.
Like, it was not even, they weren't even trying to stop it. But yet they're saying that's why y'all can't have phones, or that's why y'all can't be connected because of all of these activities that you could do that would cause you more harm. But I don't get how releasing you from prison and not giving you any opportunity to get resources to be successful is not going to cause you more harm or them. Because if you aren't giving people a way to succeed or survive, they're going to find their own way. And if that means taking it from you, and if I know that being part of DOC in the system, why would I not be trying to make that so that we're not having recidivism, so that you not only go back to prison for yourself, but that you don't hurt anybody, take anything from me or my family?
People need to understand the deepness that goes with the work release, right? Because there's absolutely no incentive to help the guys coming in there for the people that own the work release. You and I know that it's owned by a private family. What incentive do they have to stop the flow? If the flow of work release in and out, in and out, in and out of guys coming in and out of prison, why would they stop anything going on when they're making money off the backs of these guys who don't know that they don't know?
The other thing you mentioned is that it's private. So I don't know if that's across the board, and I don't think every single one in the state, our state, is private. This one specific in our county was privately run by a family. And when he first got there, I would call them to ask, like, okay, so, you know, what are the procedures? What are the rules? They're like, you have to talk to DOC. I would go to DOC and ask, like, okay, so what are the procedures and what are the rules? And they're like, well, we don't govern them because it's a private facility. This was a real big issue because when the pandemic was at its height, it was in work release, and of course they have an outbreak. And even before they had an outbreak, I'm like, they keep telling y'all that y'all can't be on the phone all day because they need you to social distance, but yet they're not covering your food. They're just having y'all go and free serve yourself. They're not having you go to chow at different times or stagger you. So they have all these mass moments where there's a bunch of people at one time, and even though they're saying it's only like, you know, just for eating, that's all the time you needed to get it, and clearly you got it. So they didn't have any of the protocols in place. They weren't protecting them. They were making them wards of the state still because they're DOC, but yet still, because it's a privately run facility, they were able to be like, well, it's not our problem. We don't control that. Yeah. But under DOC, he is your responsibility. So if he gets hurt or he gets sick, I'm coming to talk to you because you're telling me you can't govern these people. Then that means that you should not have him there if you cannot dictate what happens to his safety. And I'm just over here having to sit on my hands because I can't do anything. Because you don't want to raise too much hell because you don't want to piss anybody off and then him have to deal with the retaliation on top of being mistreated already. And nobody's giving us answers. Nobody's doing anything. And we're literally not, I haven't been able to see him. I'm sneaking to a bus stop to try to see if I can catch the bus that he might be on so I can see this man because COVID and...
It wasn't that hard to see you when I was in the joint.
I saw him more when he was in the joint. I talked to him on the phone more when he was in the joint.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, the reality of it is that there's a lot of unfairness, crookedness that goes on in this, but I'm just talking about the things that it should be a normal expectation for a normal human being and a normal human being's family coming out of these situations. And what I've been learning is to tell people, if you're in support of somebody that's in prison, it's important that you inform them and you be informed that while they're in prison, everybody thinks prison is just sitting around. It's a vacation. It's preparation to prison. You have to prepare yourself. Because as you go along, it's going to get harder. It doesn't get easier the closer you get to the streets. It gets harder, and the preparation becomes more insistent. You have to do it. It has to be something you have to do every single day. When you get to camps, when you get to work releases, and understand that nobody's going to do it for you. It has to be a family. If you have family, it has to be them and you doing it together and figuring out what it is that you need and how to figure out how to maneuver around what is actually going on. Because if I'm telling her that I'm going to make you better, but you can only be better with the things in my process, not your process, my process, and she subscribes to it because she has no choice. Once she gets in my process and she realizes I'm not helping her, it's actually a big slap in the face because it's like, you obviously don't want me to get better, and then I can do the things that can make myself better, and you don't want me to do that either. So what is your agenda here? That's what we feel about the DOC process. What is your agenda here? Because it's not to help us. people going through this process and their families need help.
They do. And the thing is like, reentry is a very big part of it, and having family is a very big part of it too. But when you don't have that, we want to figure out a way that we can help those people navigate this, because every state's different, all the resources are different, so we're not saying we have this catalog of all the things that we can do. However, we do know what we did to prepare ourselves, and he did to prepare himself to come out and be a civilian and contribute to the society. But we've also noticed things that we didn't prepare for, that we had no idea that we needed to prepare for, that now we see that it's like we can tell people this and now paint the picture and give them something else to like, oh, let's work on that. Because we were just going through this. Like, there was no manual. We didn't have anybody that we knew that came out this process pretty recent or like right before we did. It was a few years, like Papa V did it a few years before. It was quite a while ago. But they were the only people that I could ask, and that was 4 years prior. And nobody that I knew had been through that, and there was nowhere you could just get information on what to expect. So I want to give y'all the information on what to expect. Yeah. I just thought from the bare minimum, I thought somebody was going to get a packet. I thought I'd get a packet, or you'd get a packet, or you'd send me home a packet of like, work release. Here we come. Here's what you expect. Here's what you need going into that. I don't know why I thought that. I just figured for visitation, for EFVs, for family visits, you get a packet and they tell you what you can bring, what you can take, what you can't take, what's the rules, when's visiting, all the times. Why is that just not a standard? I just felt like I think you need to know it, I need to know it. What days you go, what days I can come, like all of those things. You don't get that. Don't expect that to happen. Don't expect when you call that they'll be able to tell you. A lot of it relies on the individual incarcerated delivering and relaying the information, but they don't give them the information that readily either. Yeah. So you really have to advocate and go and get the info. And ladies, if you're like me, information is wealth, and so I'm on him like, did you ask them this? Did you find out this? Probably a little annoying, and probably not something that you were just always wanting to go talk to police about. But in order for me to prepare for you, I needed information.
That's the best thing to do. And yeah, I mean, it could be a little annoying, but at the time you don't know. There's a lot of things that you don't know when you're incarcerated, right? As the individual incarcerated that your family's going through. In preparation for you to come home, trying to make it good for you, trying to make sure that you have as less to worry about, at least to worry about as possible, because of the fact that it's so stressful for a guy to come home. What I'm telling the guy, the incarcerated individual, if you can hear me right now, is that information is vital. Do what you can to get it to your people, because nobody else is going to do it. And then when I got to work release, what was hard for me to see was that the times that we did get to see each other, because I did have a very understanding counselor who allowed us to be able to come pick me up from work, so we got to see each other every night, 5 days a week. She would take me home from work for about 15-20 minutes. Still not enough time, but what I got to see from her was that I'm home, I'm like down the street, and there's no more access to each other than it was when I was in the joint, and I was crushing. So yeah, I just understand that when you're feeling how you feeling being in these positions, and you're almost home but you're not quite there, you're feeling sorry for yourself, but then you got somebody that, a mom, a sister, or a woman, a wife, who is literally sitting there like, I don't know what's going on with my loved one, I don't know when I'm gonna see him.
And we're not just sitting, we're working, we're out here like preparing for this loved one, and don't know where he's at, what he's doing, if he's okay, if he got my stuff, like what's...
And in a lot of ways, it's got to be more stressful, because now he's out and you don't know if he's okay being out. You don't know if he's stressed, you don't know if he's like anxious, you don't know what's going on, because they won't even allow you to have contact. That's crazy. I don't understand that.
Do you feel like you've noticed, just within this process, and you were saying like, fellas, this is what you got to do, what do you think you can say as far as what is happening, what your family is doing for you that you didn't know what was happening, but like behind the scenes? Do you know what I'm trying to say? Like, can you speak to that?
I mean, there's a lot of things, right? Mm-hmm. Because when it comes to financials, to prepare for somebody to come home and get them basic needs, not anything over the top, is to put a dent in your pocketbook. So anybody who's out here paying mortgages, paying car notes, paying credit card bills, and still putting away enough money to give you your basic needs is amazing. Because this life out here it takes money as you make it. That's number one. Yeah. You know? And then number two is the worry involved with not knowing. I can't begin to like say I'm sorry enough for I didn't cause a lot of the worry that you know what I'm saying? But not understanding what it looks like to sit over here and not know what's going on behind the walls or behind the fence with your loved one and their transition coming home and them not allowing you to take any part of it so that that person can feel secure. And then your loved one does sit up here and try to get in touch with people, try to make phone calls and try to do all that. And if you, the incarcerated individual, ever in your position of being incarcerated get stressful and not appreciate that, you're wrong. Because for somebody to, and I get it, I get being incarcerated and how the police talk to you and dealing with these other cats around you and all that type of stuff, I get it. If there's one regret that I have when I was incarcerated, is like not pausing enough before I picked up the phone, or pausing before I went to visit, to shake that shit up off me, because you have been home worried, or you have been going through a visiting process for an hour and a half to sit here to visit me. If that's going on just at the visit, imagine what's going on when you're coming home from work release. If she's sitting for an hour and a half to check in for that, how many hours and how much time that nobody is accounting for are you worried? Are you thinking? Are you planning? You plotting? You remember when I had to go get the bus card and you was just trying to find that bus?
Yeah, y'all saw that video. You trying to track him down.
It was funny because afterwards, how you let me know what you was doing and all that. But the sad part about that was later on you told me that you were actually driving and crying.
Yeah, I was a mess.
That speaks to the condition that it is for you to be in that position, driving around crying because you might not catch a glimpse of your man
that I haven't seen outside free for 20-something years.
You're just trying to catch a glimpse. And I was actually walking, and I swear I seen so many great cars out there because she got a gray sedan. So I'm looking at every great car thinking you gonna pull up every single time, and I never saw you.
The only reason I almost pulled up actually next to you, but you had those two people with you, and I didn't know what quality of people they were, if they was gonna run back and tell or what. So
that was crazy. Like, I honestly, if you hadn't shot that video, I'd have still been like, no, you didn't.
Babe, I was in the bushes, literally chasing you down.
But so a lot of the things that go on in this process isn't the family's fault or even the incarcerated individual's fault. But there are things that you can do to help alleviate the stress and the hurt and the pain that goes with your family member supporting you, and that is just to be kind of present and just let them know that that you understand, or if you don't understand that you apologize. They have to go through that because DOC ain't gonna apologize for them worrying.
I think that's a big thing, though. Is just it is a very taxing job to support someone that's locked up, but it's also very taxing to be locked up. Like,
it is.
We both have perspectives that I'm never gonna understand, and vice versa. And you had said something before, like, if you don't realize that, then you're wrong. And yeah, maybe your approach could be wrong. I think that there's a lot of room for there to be a lot of that, like, feeling like they don't get it, she don't get it, he don't get it, because we don't get the other side. But at the same time, like, if you are being a woman that is putting her life on hold for any visit, to come and go to visit for you, whether she's your girlfriend or just your friend, the amount of time that it takes, the amount of energy that it takes for that person to go to that visit for you is something that you will only put yourself through that if you care about somebody. Yeah. That alone, just that alone, requires, and I'm saying requires, a level of respect that I think a lot of guys are not giving and don't realize is something that is a requirement. Because they think that they don't realize, like, for one, she didn't have to come, but this woman just went through a lot. This whole, and normally it's a white lady talking cash crazy to you at the line, and making you look stupid, making you feel stupid. They're damn near searching you, winding you down in front of everybody. It's so much humiliation. You're standing to hurry up to get in another line, to stand, to hurry up and wait some more. And it literally can be a 2 to sometimes 4 hour process before you even get into the visit. And then when you get in there and you have someone who comes in and feels like they're doing you a favor by coming to sit at the table with you, or they come in there and want to be cool and cute for everybody else in the room but the person they're sitting at the table with, or they're embarrassed because maybe she's not the cutest girl but she still came up to see you, and so you're kind of playing her to the left because you're embarrassed that she's not cute, but she came to see you, and you're not taking in the fact that nobody else came to see you today.
And we ain't saying that she ain't cute. We're saying you don't think she cute because
right.
Everybody else in the room is like, my boy got a ride a champ with him today, man. Somebody came to sit down and be down with you today. That's the only thing everybody else is thinking about. So you're the person.
Well, I think when you're in, your peers are not. That, you know, those young guys. If you're young and you're in that age group, they're all thinking.
Okay, I'm speaking of the mature guys.
And it took you a while to get there.
What do you mean?
You weren't always mature.
No, it wasn't always mature in that respect, but I ain't never disrespect nobody's visitor though.
No. You wouldn't disrespect the visitor, but we would be able to see the disrespect happening and why it was happening. And
Yeah, you would.
It wasn't like we were just like, stop that, you know. It could sometimes turn into an ongoing like, oh boy.
Well, that was kind of because we was more like we on our own business. So
we were, yeah.
But yeah, I do get what you're saying. And there's, when a guy's in prison, there's a huge entitlement issue for guys that are locked up. So that's what happens when you come.
Why do you think that is?
That's because what ends up happening is, no matter how independent and self-sufficient you think you are, when you're in that situation, you literally have somebody doing something for you all the time to self-wiping your ass. And so what ends up happening, whether you care about it or not, you end up becoming thinking that everybody's supposed to do for you, because that's become the condition under which you live 24 hours a day. And that's why sometimes I used to be like, no, don't send me money, or no, don't do this, because I knew that I had become that, but I was trying to fight it. And it's a fight that you might as well just give into it, as far as like letting people do it, but don't come sucked into that mentality. So what's happening is you sit down and it's like, yeah, you're supposed to be here. I was talking to you on the phone all week. You're like, you're my chick, or you're my friend. Like, yeah, you want to spend time with me on the phone or whatever, you got to come here. I literally seen guys do that. And so the entitlement issue, that's why what I was saying earlier about guys, like, you're wrong if you do that. And the reason why I say you're wrong is, if you don't know, you're not. But I'm saying, if somebody's informing you, talking to you about this, making you aware, and you still do it, that's when you're wrong. Acknowledging it and saying, okay, I know about that, and still doing it the other way is wrong. Figure out a way to do something different, because as grown men, we realize that it's up to us. And nobody's going to come in your cell and counsel you. Nobody's going to come and do that at all. You have to realize that a lot of ways that you talk to people, or the ways under which your relationship is with your family, is not working. You have to do something different. You know, I got a partner that's always arguing with his family member all the time. Like, every other time we talk to him, they're beefing. Yeah. Like, somebody has to do something different, and that's been their relationship, him and his sister, like that, their whole life. They're damn near in their late 30s, I think, now, and it's like, it's still like that. We have to figure out something different, because nobody's going to come and say, y'all need to, we need to counsel y'all. And so when dealing with people that are locked up, your loved ones that are following you, understand that you have to deal with them a different way, a different positive way. You have to figure out how to do that. Because coming home is not going to get easier to deal with them if you don't change the way you deal with them now. Well,
and I will say too, ladies, like, I think this is across the board, any relationship. The way you start it is the way it ends. So if it's easy to get in this type of relationship and knowing that they have to depend on you, so you just start doing everything for them. If you just start doing everything for them, you can't expect that you can't be surprised when they expect that you continue to do everything for them. And I don't know about you, but I'm not trying to be taking care of no grown up. Like, if you can do it for yourself, you can do it for yourself. I don't mind teaching you how to do it, showing you how to do it, even a couple times just to have your back. But you want to make sure, if that entitlement, if that unappreciation, if that you feeling like you're not getting something that you need, you have to speak up about that.
Yeah.
Like, They don't know unless you tell them. And honestly, sometimes you have got to tell them all the time, but you have to break it down in a way that they're going to receive it and hear it. And that can be challenging, I know. So I'm not trying to counsel you on how to talk to your man or not. I'm just saying if you need something from him and he's not giving it to you, you have to ask for it, because when you decide to make whatever decision you're going to make, you want to at least be able to say, I tried. I gave him the opportunity to do better. And hopefully he is aware enough to realize a gem that he has, and aware enough to realize, okay, I need to step up and she's worth me doing that. And then he tried to do it. I mean, it's not going to be, it's not going to be what you see on Lifetime, because he's in prison. You're not going to get the best birthday presents all the time. You're not going to get all of these extravagant gifts. You're going to be the third wheel. You're going to be by yourself a lot. I mean, it is like you have to kind of know what you're signing up for, but at the same time, you also have to know what you're worth within that box. And you will do, or you need to require them to do the most that they can for you in that box. And if he's not, then you both have to have that conversation, because it's not fair that he's getting, and then you're not, because it starts off like that, and it can be easy to get mixed up in it, and then you realize 3-4 years down the road, I ain't put nothing back into me. I've been giving all of myself to this man, and I am drained, and he don't even know that I'm drained because he's so busy getting everything from me. What is he giving to me?
He had an opportunity to be drained. And that has happened, because and it was crazy, because one of my favorite songs, why is my favorite song? Because one of the lines in the chorus is, I build you up, you just break me down. And it's that's exactly what you just described.
Yeah.
And so, that does happen a lot in that situation. And it was funny what you said is that, ladies, you have to tell them. Mm-hmm. And I'm a piggyback off of that. Yes, you do have to tell them, ladies. No matter how much he acts like he knows it all already, tell him. Because a lot of times a man incarcerated does act like that. Because he obviously feels that way. But a lot of times he's just holding on to the time when he did know a lot. And he was it. And things change when you're incarcerated. You don't have access to stuff, so stuff don't have access to you, so you don't know. So you come into this relationship with the only person that knows you and knows that they trust every word that you say and all that, and you're acting like you know. Yeah. And she's thinking that you know. Ladies, tell your man how you feel, what it is you require, and what it is that you're going to require going forward, or else. There's nothing wrong with that, because what we learned is that you have to teach people how to love you.
Because I teach people to treat you.
Yeah, because I used to want to love her the way I wanted to love her. You remember that? And
it did nothing for me.
And the thing is, the way I wanted to love her that was how I knew how to love. That was the most down love, and it was just it's all about you, whoop. But there's intricate things about the love that I had to tweaking, because she said this is what I need. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm still doing that.
That sometimes it's just that. I would tell him what I want, and he'd be like, got it, and did something completely different. Yeah. So it's hearing me and then doing what I say, because it's not, the way you sometimes would do it would be this over the top thing that would be thank you. Yeah. But if you had just literally done what I asked you, that would have got you the response you wanted, because that's what I wanted. Exactly. You ask me what I want, I tell you, and then you do what you want. Who's the gift for?
Yeah.
Is it for me?
Because men, these things that we taught that women love aren't universal.
No.
Each woman is an individual, and so they're not across the board. You can't just do this for every woman. Sometimes the most extravagant gift, the $200 gift, and is not better than the $19 gift, because $19 gift is what she wanted.
Even this was back in the day when we went to one time. This was before you got locked up. It just reminded me of this story. We went to Jack in the Box, and he asked me if I was hungry, and I was like, yeah, I'm hungry, I just want a chicken sandwich. And he went to go get the chicken sandwich, and I wanted the 99-cent chicken sandwich.
Damn, what I wanted.
That. It was back in the day, that thing was hitting, and it was busting. It was always good. The chicken was crispy no matter how long it was. I don't know what it was. It was magic. But anyway, I wanted this sandwich, so I'm waiting. He gonna come by the house and bring me this sandwich. So you got your mouth ready. So he goes to give me this sandwich, and he brings me back this like gourmet crispy chicken sandwich, and it had all these things on it.
Swiss cheese, grilled onions, the works.
I did not want that. And so he gives me the sandwich, and I open it, and I'm not really picky. I will eat anything, but when I want what I want, like, or if I like it, I'm like he says, I'm particular.
Yeah,
I know what I want. And so he opened it for me, or I opened it, and I was like, eating it, but it wasn't clearly it was not giving me what I wanted to give me. And he saw that and was like, I got you what you asked for. And I was like, no, you didn't though. Because I asked for the 99-cent chicken sandwich, and you got me this sandwich. I don't even want this sandwich. But then he was upset because I'm not looking like I'm grateful. And I'm upset because I'm like, then why'd you ask me what I want? Don't ask me.
Yeah, don't ask.
And don't hear us tell you what we want, and do not ignore it.
And then ladies, say what you want. Exactly.
Yeah, that's true.
Be specific. You gotta do that with God. And if you gotta do that with God, you damn sure gotta do it with your dude. I mean, come on, y'all. For real.
Oh, God. Okay, so we just kind of wanted to give you guys a little, I don't know, what do you say, like a synopsis of what these stages are of release. And work release is a big one. We unfortunately, like we said, we didn't get the one. We just got to go to the gates and pick them up. But this was another phase. It was 6 months. That was a long 6 months. It was very trying, very up and down. For those of you who are just listening and not watching our visual podcast, if you want to, on YouTube, you can find us, and we have a playlist that's called Love After Lockup, and you literally can see where I chronicled a bunch of the transitions that we went through of that year of him coming home. So I'll make sure I put that here too in the cards. But yeah, so we're gonna just kind of keep trying to give y'all topics to see what this transition is like, because our platform is for people who are currently going through or in the process of transitioning like we are, but it's also for the person that just has no clue on what happens in prison and around it, before and after it. So if there's questions that you have or topics that you are interested in, let us know. Put it down in the comments. You can always DM me on IG at SpiceLifeTv. You can email us at till the wheels fall off podcast. All of that information will be below. But yeah, let us know what you feel about what we talked about. If you can relate, if you have a work release experience, how yours was, if it was better, there was other things that we missed that you want us to touch on. So yeah, that's kind of where we're coming from.
And like she said, it's all about information, and we just want y'all to share it. So because nobody's doing this with us, and nobody's sitting down and talking about this, and it's a serious issue that govern the way somebody's going to enter society, and governs the way a guy's going to re-enter his relationship with his family member. However, and if we can help do that in the most successful way, give you a safe place to be able to say, not only get information, but ask questions. You can come ask questions. Do that. We're here for y'all.
That's right. So guys, I will put all of our contact links in the description. I am still new at this whole podcast thing. I know how to do YouTube, so that I got. So I can't tell you exactly where the podcast will be airing. I'm pretty sure it will be on SoundCloud, Spotify, and I believe Anchor. But like I said, they will all be in the bottom. If you have any questions, comments, please let those be in the bottoms too. And wherever you listen to us, please comment, rate us, like us, subscribe to us, and we'd love it if you would share us out, because we'd love to get our content to more people, just so that we can get more feedback and that we can continue to grow this channel. So until next time, you guys, we are so grateful that the Spice Rack and the Pookie Pack joined us for yet another episode. Next week we will be back again, same time, same channel. And so until then, we will talk to you guys soon, and we want you to have a blessed week. Keep your masks on, get your vaccines if you want to. Just stay safe, stay blessed, and we'll see you guys another time.
Yeah, we're here for y'all till the wheels fall off.
Till the wheels fall off. Bye, guys.